want to thank you, each one of you, for coming out today to be part of another of our Computer Club's tech learning experiences. We are pleased you are here and hope you come with a question or two for our speaker, Judy Taylour, who is up here on the screen. Judy is coming to us today from near Los Angeles, California, by way of Zoom. And she's through the APCUG Speakers Bureau. Your Computer Club is a member of APCUG, which is a tech users group. We will bring you more of their great programs in the coming months. And I believe Judy is on the program on 2 months coming up this year. We invited Judy to present today because each of us is always searching for answers. And we often go to Google to do a search. But a search of Google, just search Google, it will reveal that the Google world is expansive with so many other apps and hardware. And they all work together harmoniously. Today, we will learn about some of those other features and apps and how they will benefit us. So I'm going to turn it over to Judy. And one thing from her resume just jumped off the page at me. And that was this: Judy believes in lifelong learning. It underscores her dedication to empowering others with tech knowledge. We're so fortunate to have her with us today. And I'm going to ask Judy to tell us a little bit more about her, but I want to thank you for joining us. And I should tell you who I am. My name is Marie Lee, and I am the current leader of the Computer Club. And I'm really glad to have you here. So let's turn it over to Judy. It's all yours, Judy.
And I am Judy Taylour, and I am just a few miles northwest of Los Angeles. I'm west of all the miserable fires that were happening, which is good. And as Marie said, having anybody from the Speakers Bureau give a presentation is a member of your member benefits in the International Tech Association, and we're for seniors. And we're about educating people about technology. And this is what we do in our monthly tech meetings too for our personal groups. And I taught adult ed tech classes to seniors for over 20 years, and which was fun. I started out way back in the day, 1,000 years ago, with the parent participation preschool. I would have done that one for free. That is so much fun. And it's amazing how much preschoolers and kindergartners have in common with seniors. I am also on the curriculum committee for one of Los Angeles area's junior colleges. And it's a hoot. I don't know how I got there, but I go once a year, and the teachers and the department heads, we talk about what they're going to offer for classes the following year. And when they start talking about technology, they all turn towards me. And I'm thinking, the little old lady at the end of the table here, and they all figure I know more about tech than they do, which it just makes me laugh. But one of the department heads said he wanted to do something with AI last semester. And he really didn't know what to do because there's, good questions about AI in school settings and things. Like my AP history daughter tells her students she wants them to learn to think for themselves first and make their decisions before they get involved in AI. And I said, do you do resumes with your students? And he goes, oh, yeah, it's the last project of the semester. And I said, why don't you have them do their resumes, bring them in, and then in class, choose Copilot, Gemini, or ChatGPT, one of the three, and have them do the same thing using their resume as they did it with all the information on it, but have artificial AI do it for them. And oh my gosh, he thought that was the greatest thing that came down the pike. And I told him, I said, well, I learned that from the president of the Lorain County Computer Club in Ohio. And in their newsletter, she said she had done that for her high school age grandson, and that his resume had turned out quite nice. And we all know that high school graduates don't have too much of any kind of background for a resume, but I knew what to say about it. But those are the kinds of things they look to me for. I am involved in many things in, the International Tech Association. We have groups all across the United States, in Canada, and in Australia. We have Wednesday workshops, second, third, and fourth Wednesdays. And every single Wednesday, we have 2 people come in from the Melbourne group in Australia, and it is 4 a.m. in the morning the next day. And I always ask one of them to please walk us off. Since it's 4 a.m., ask a question, do something, and then we'll close the meeting. And if you haven't attended one of our Wednesday workshops, really have a good time. Today, we're going to talk about Google. And there is much more to Google than, hey, just go Google it. Look it up, Google it. That's what we're going to go through. So these are fun facts. There are the 2 kids. They were at Stanford. Apparently at the beginning, they really didn't think too much of each other. But by golly, in 1998, they came up with the search engine. And I love it. I was doing, updating the presentation, and I found that the hard drive they had their search engine on was stored in a Lego. They had made a box of Legos so their air could circulate it. And it was better ventilation than just popping it in a box someplace. I thought that was cute. They offered to sell it to Yahoo for $1 million. Yahoo said, no, thank you. And then they tried to buy it for $3 billion in 2002. And the kids wanted $5 billion. And they are so wealthy, it is absolutely incredible. And they started it out as students in university. And it was originally called Backrub. Don't you love it? Backrub it. Use Backrub for your search engine. And they renamed it. And all we can do is, breathe a sigh of relief and say, oh, thank goodness they did that. And it was a play on a mathematical expression, and one followed by 100 zeros. And their mission was to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful. And I'm saying adding on for all of us. Or perhaps it was misspelled when somebody was searching for the name. So there are 3 billion active Android devices used around the world versus the Apple devices. And their goal is sustainable and pollution-free environment. So they recycle 100% of the electric equipment that leaves its data centers daily. And data centers are what we call the cloud. They're out in the world there. And they make it a point to use 50% less power or energy in its data centers compared to other similar firms. There's a data center in Oklahoma, and it is powered by windmills. Apparently, the wind blows down from Canada. I haven't figured that out. I'm from California. We don't know about stuff like that. And that's what powers the data center. Gmail, if you use Gmail, you are one of the 1.8 billion users worldwide. And they process over 40,000 search queries every second on average. I was up at Googleplex in Mountain View for a tour one year after my Southwest Tech Conference in San Diego 1,000 years ago. And I looked at the wall and there were just things streaming down. And I said, what is that? And he says, those are all the searches. And I just was, and they went into the floor, and it was the most interesting display of, however it was done. And there are 3.5 billion searches per day, 1.2 trillion searches per year. And I would imagine that everyone that can hear this is one of those numbers, because I find I get better search results with Google than I do other search engines. So here's YouTube. How did Google acquire it? I love it. They are at Denny's with the people who invented YouTube. Again, kids. And they, sitting there over mozzarella sticks saying, would you take 1.65 million for YouTube? And apparently they struck a deal. 2002, it's a verb all of a sudden, and hits 2 dictionaries in 2006. What they have is an ecosystem, and it's being used more and more with technology. And it's a system of all of a company's products or platforms that are complemented with apps. What they want is they want to be your be all and end all. Microsoft, Apple, Google, they all have ecosystems, and they would like you to say, I'm a Google person. I use many of their apps. I have some of their hardware. Apple, Microsoft, the same thing. Linux, very popular operating system. They're an operating system and software. They don't literally have more than that. And again, they want to be your personal, comprehensive, and diverse suite of everything. And we have the hardware, but nothing they have is on our hard drives. And the beginning of it, the middle of it, the end of it is the Chrome browser foundation, and lots of apps, and they work with your Chrome browser. Microsoft is called Edge. Google's is called Chrome. I use both. And all of the Google apps or Android apps can be used on Windows and the Mac operating systems. We're going to take a look at some of the apps they have that you can use, perhaps, and hopefully you'll learn something new. So you need to customize the 9 dots. When you are in your email program and you look over to the right and you see your picture or whatever you have that lets you know which email account you're in, there are 9 dots. And if you click on them, there's lots of things that you can do with your Google apps. And you can click on those and hold it down, and you can move them wherever you want them. If you want to use this to go to the Google stuff, so to speak, then put them in the order that you use them most of all. On the left is my personal Gmail account. On the right is my APCUG account. I use Drive with the APCUG account. That's where we share all our documents and things like that. And I don't really do that much with my home stuff. I have it on my hard drive. I have 2 other backup things, but I'm not using Drive that much. In APCUG, we have a contest, the digital photo contest. We put them all up there for the judges to look at and judge and come up with winners and things like this. I don't do things like that with my personal Gmail account. But again, however you are doing, whatever you are doing with your Google, click on it and move it around. And make sure sometime you take time to go all the way down to the bottom and see a ton and a half of stuff that you probably didn't even know was there. Most people don't. And we're going to talk about that kind of stuff today. And if you find something, a new app, and you think, oh, I'd really like to look at that later, go into your 9 dots, click on it, and bring it up to the top so it's up close and personal. Android operating system, it was acquired by Google in 2005. They don't necessarily come up or invent a lot of the things. they have enough money and they see something they like, they'll just, acquire the company and put it into all of their Google app structure. And this is your phone, your laptop, you have an iPhone, or you have an Android phone. Google Chrome, their search engine, it came about for Windows in 2008, Macs and Linux OS in 2009, and Linux is called free and open source software. Well, that's interesting. That's what Chrome operating system is. But because Google adds its own things, it's licensed as proprietary. So you can't change it. Only they can. And we get updates all the time. If you get a pop-up that says you have a new version of Chrome or Edge or whichever one you use, make sure that you click on that and get the latest version downloaded to your computer, your phone, because the updates are usually security updates. They might be adding something, they might be taking something away, and you really, for security's sake, need to have the latest version of any app that they are using. And about 67% of everybody in the world is using the Chrome browser. And the Chrome OS is for your Chromebook. And it's supposed to be, I love it, the doorway to the cloud. Okay, fine. It's an alternative operating system, just like Windows or Mac, except it is strictly for Android devices. I love this. So simple. Even your grandma could use it. Okay, fine. Thank you very much. I'm a Grammy, and it is simple. A lot of people recommend a Chromebook for seniors because it's so easy. And I say, if seniors already are using Windows and they're very comfortable with it, do we really want to learn a new operating system? Okay. Chromebooks are 14 years old. And EOL, end of life, they do have an end of life, is about 8 years, and at that time they will no longer support updates. And what's cool with a Chromebook is when you turn it off, you turn it on again. If there are any updates, boom, you have them. There's not Tuesday updates like we have with Windows or quarterly updates like we have with Windows 11. They can use Android and Linux apps. They are very lightweight, and some people call them couch computers. They can easily sit, watch TV with the Chromebook on their lap. It's very lightweight, and it's very ideal for people that need to get up and go and take their laptop with them, because some laptops can be very heavy. Chromebooks aren't. Are they safer than a PC? Well, majority of the software is stored and run in the cloud. You have nothing on the hard drive. It's in a cloud account. Again, the regular updates. And before you buy your Chromebook, check the auto update or end of life. It's not when you buy it. It's when it was made and manufactured. And you don't know if that laptop has been sitting on the shelf for a year or two, which cuts that time off the end of life date. This is the keyboard. You can see there's a Windows and a Mac keyboard down at the bottom, and you can see the Chromebook keyboard above it. It doesn't have all of the keys that we are used to. Over on the right, I have a friend who's a member of a local computer club, past president, and he is losing his eyesight. So he is using that Windows computer up there with the bright yellow. It's larger than usual. The keys are larger, and it helps him still keep going using his computer. He loves his Chromebook. And he says, Judy, I don't know what I'm going to do. And I said, why don't you look on Amazon? I said, Amazon's got everything. Maybe they have some stickers that you can put on your keys. So his Chromebook is in the lower right-hand side, and you can see the stickers he put on his keys, so he's comfortable using that. And in the lower left-hand side of the Chromebook graphic there, you can see some white strips. Those are 4 different keys that are not on the Chromebook keyboard, but he uses. And they have keyboard shortcuts, so he has them noted there. Google Docs. Do you use Office, Microsoft Office? Do you pay for 365? Have you thought, gee, I'm paying for, Microsoft 365. Do I really need to? You don't. You can use Google Docs. Very easy to use. Docs is like Word, Sheets is Excel, Slides is like PowerPoint. I use Google Forms all the time. Every time I send information out about Wednesday workshops, I'm using Google Forms. They have a drawing program. Peak groups can have a free website, and Google Keep is your notes and lists. But if you decide one day, I really am not using Microsoft Word that much anymore. It's silly to pay $99 a year for the license, and it will be going up because they have included their AI program Copilot with it. And I understand the cost for 365 is going to be $130 a year now. You can use Docs. Slim doesn't do the tricky stuff, but most people don't use that kind of stuff. I could use Docs and Sheets. I use Sheets all the time because that's when I get results for my forms, it comes to me in a Sheets spreadsheet instead of Excel. It's no big deal. I just can't use PowerPoint because it's not as robust as I need. But most of you guys aren't going to be putting a PowerPoint presentation together. So Docs works with all of that, even old-time BlackBerry devices, and they don't end up on your hard drive. They go up to your Google Drive that you have with your Gmail program. And they can even be used when your Chromebook isn't connected to the internet. So, same thing, Google Docs. You could share a document, a spreadsheet, or presentation with one person, a group of people. They can be edited if you give other people their permission to edit your information and things like that. But again, they're very easy to use to translate from Word to be able to use it in Excel. You can also use LibreOffice Writer, Calc. They are also, and they're free, easy to use since you already know Word and Excel. And that's what Docs looks like up there. And there's Sheets. And here's their slides. Every once in a while, with the presentations that are given on the Wednesday workshop, they send them to me. I send them out to the attendees, and I will get a presentation put together with slides. Can't tell the difference. Here's forms. You can do surveys. Marie wants to know what you guys are thinking about this, that, and the other thing. She could put, or one of her techies could put, a Google form together asking you a series of questions. You fill it out, the answers come back to her or whoever in an Excel, in a Sheets spreadsheet. Super easy. As the kids says, easy peasy. Starts out as an untitled form and off you go. And you can have check boxes, circles to choose one, check boxes to choose many, you name it. If you have an Android phone, you need to have Google's Find My Device, just in case you accidentally leave it someplace or it's stolen. And you need to also set up on the app how you can wipe all the information off your phone if it's no longer in your possession. Remember, everything is stored in the cloud, so you can get it all back, but this is being very safe and secure when you are using your phone. And if you guys don't know what I'm talking about here, I bet one of your gurus can give a presentation on both Google Find My Device, so to speak, as well as the iPhone, same app. Google really wants you to have 2FA, two-factor authentication, also known every once in a while as MFA, multi-factor authentication. A lot of people find it time-consuming. We had quite a discussion about this the other night when I gave a presentation to the group in Westchester, New York. And one lady was adamant, it takes too long to do it. Don't, you know. And so that's her choice. But again, it's an app, and depending upon, you know, how secure you want everything to be, you can do that. It's your choice. Gmail. There are a ton and a half of people who use Gmail. Super easy to use. I like it because I don't get spam in my inbox. Google puts it right into my spam folder. And if you happen to get an email in your inbox and you go, what in the world is that? Don't delete it. Above all, do not unsubscribe, but mark it as spam so it goes into your spam folder. That lets Gmail know, hey, Judy just got this email and she's telling us it's spam. So they mark it as spam on their end. If you unsubscribe to that, the person who sent it to you is clapping their hands and smiling from ear to ear because they have found somebody who will open the email. Maybe the next one you get will be a phishing email or some kind of scam. You can receive up to 50 megabytes in an attachment, which is a huge attachment. You can send an attachment, you are sending a series of photos or whatever, up to 25 megabytes. Over that, Google says, no problem. And they will upload them for you, give you a link to include in the email that you are sending to whoever is going to receive the photos. And they go there and they can download them. So you don't say, oh my gosh, I am going to have to send 3 emails and attach, 4 photos to one, 3 photos to another. Nope. Gmail takes care of that for you easily. You can go in and customize your account. Take a look at it. Do you want it to anticipate you've got a misspelled word and fix it for you? Well, you can go in and set that up here. Again, if you have not done any of this and you haven't talked about this, these kinds of things are a good how to do things for your presentations or your classes. See, there's a spam folder. See, I have a Yeti backpack cooler. Oh, look, I've been chosen. Gmail says, oh, come on, Judy, you don't want that in your inbox. We're just going to put that in your spam folder because that's exactly what it is. You do have to check your spam folder carefully before you delete everything in there, because sometimes if you've got a friend who has a new email address, Google might mistakenly think it's spam. And you can customize your Gmail. And they're called folders, not labels. We think of them with Windows as folders, but theirs are called labels. They also have a calendar, keep, which is notes, tasks, it's what your to-do list, and all of the contacts that you send out emails to. And it's always on the very right-hand side of your Gmail window. You can use Google Calendar. You can choose daily, weekly, monthly. You can decide to start it on Sunday or Monday. You can assign different colors. You can customize this to beat the band. And my example of doing this is you're having a family reunion and you send out emails to the 25 people that are on your distribution list. You get 25 emails back. You got to sift through those and everything. And it's easier to use a calendar. If your people on your list don't have Gmail or Google as calendar access, they don't use Gmail, you can give them special access. And with that, you can say, these are the 3 days that are up for grabs for the family reunion. Put your name in the box that when you can attend. And then when if your deadline for letting you know is done, all the information is in one place and you don't have to answer 25 emails. Bob G, if he gives a presentation, other presenters, they use the calendar to let you know what it is, when it is, and the Zoom link. Here's notes. Easy to use. That's, that's your yellow Post-it note program from back in the day. You can have notes, reminders. You've got a contact list. Every once in a while, you should go through your contact list. And do you have 3, email address for the same person? Which one are they using now? Because this is where, when you start typing in somebody's name, the email address automatically pops up. And you want to make sure that you are sending it to the correct email address. Or maybe somebody's no longer with us. Well, you need to remove them from your contact list. So this is something you should look at every once in a while and just spiffy it up. You want a to-do list? You can use Google Tasks. Google Drive is where you share things. You save things. We share with our APCUG groups. I could have one set up for my computer club, or I could share things with them. Google Drive gives us 15 gigabytes of free storage across anything we store, or Gmail, our photos. Remember, I get emails from people saying, oh my gosh, my Gmail's full and I don't know why. That's because they receive a lot of photos and they look at them and go, oh, isn't that cute? That's way cool. And then they don't do anything with them. You can save them to your drive. You could save them to your photos folder on your hard drive, but they count and they're taking up space. And if you've got, and when I mention this to people, I say, what do you do with the emails when you get a lot of photos? Oh, I look at them. I say, are you ever going to look at those photos again? No. Then you need to delete the email and delete the photos because it's taking up space. Google One, if you love, you're saving everything on Google, then you're going to want to buy more space to save things using Google One. Many groups, that would be tech clubs, use Google Groups to send emails to everybody. It's the way they communicate. There's also another program called Groups.io. And this is how they send an email out letting you know that, Judy's going to be here today. Here's another group that uses it. And another group. This is in Ohio. The other one was by Chicago. Google Voice. They still have a phone. I personally think that every single tech club should have a Google Voice phone on their website, because there are still people around that are more comfortable picking up a phone and calling somebody. And they might want to become a member of your group. And it comes to you or the person responsible as a text message or a email, your choice. They have a messaging app, like Facebook has a messaging app. If you are into this kind of thing and you are a Google person, you might want to use Google Messages. It's not available in China or Russia. Okay. And Google Meet, that is the same as Zoom. It's bare bones. This is the only meeting system that I have not had the opportunity to attend one. And I wish somebody would invite me to one so I could really see what it's like. I just know that it's not as robust as Zoom or Microsoft Teams. I bet we all, maybe not, use Google Maps. 2024, there were more than 1 billion monthly users wanting to know where in the world they should go and how in the world can they get there. And 36 million square miles of satellite images cover more than 98% of the world's population, used in over 220 countries. And it can give you directions on driving, a bus, where the buses are going to go and stop, walking, riding your bike, or riding your favorite motorcycle. They also have eyes-free walking navigation that lets vision impaired user get directions via voice, which I think is way cool. If you do not want Google to keep a record of where you have gone, then use the incognito mode when you are searching anything to do with Google. As people say, Google's tracking everything I do. I look at, to buy something, and all of a sudden I get all these ads about whatever I was looking for. If you are 18 years and older, you can become a local map guide. And they're volunteers who write reviews, share photos, answer questions about places they have been. And I signed up for this just so I could see how it worked. And then I got, I unsigned up for it. And every once in a while, I will get a little note from Google letting me know that 100 people have checked my review. I did 2 or 3 restaurants in Santa Clarita and a couple of other things. And so if that's your thing, you could take a photograph of where you were and submit it. But you have to be 18 years and older to do it. And they also, if you do this, give you points towards unlocking something new, and that is a surprise. So here's traveling. You want to figure out where you want to go, when you want to go, how much it's going to cost, and you want to do it yourself. You can do it with Google Travel. I said, I want to take a week's trip in the next 6 months and go to Los Angeles, and it says, where do you want to go? How do you want to go? What things can you do there? I need a vacation rental. Oh, no, I changed my mind. I need a hotel reservation. I call it one-stop shopping. And then they said, oh, by the way, if you'd like to go to these places, this is how much it's going to cost. And you could tell that this was a couple of years ago, because nothing is this, inexpensive now. But I could go to Cabo from LAX for $179 on that day. And I might think I was going to Houston for $86 and think, I'd really like to go to Cabo instead for a week. So it's just a fun app. If you're not even traveling any place, it's a fun app to play with. Google Earth, it is absolutely fantastic. They have, I don't know whether in your community or where you've lived before you're in your community, you've ever seen a Google car driving up the street with a brown thing on the top of it. And I've had it come up my street in Santa Clarita a couple of times. Just happened to be looking out the kitchen window one time and walking out the front door the other time. And they were taking pictures of our street and loading them up to the Google Earth. And for my tech conference in San Diego one year, I had the guy at Mountain View Google, Mountain View is their corporate office, come and give a presentation, and it was on Google Earth, and they had just finished mapping San Diego. And he was so excited that he could show us San Diego, and he took us, down the main drag, and You looked up and there were the huge, tall buildings and everything. And then through the funky part close to the beach of San Diego. And what he didn't realize is really there were very few people there from San Diego. It was mostly from California and the rest of the United States. But we were the first people to see it. But it was so much fun. So you got a down date, you don't have anything to do. Go to Google Earth and choose someplace in the world you would like to see. And there you will be. It also will take you back. People say climate change is not real. Here's the Columbia Glacier, 1996. Take a look at it in 2020. Look how much ice is gone. So some of these things are just fun to do. If you guys probably don't care, but with one of my students, we went to Google Earth and I said, put your address in and let me know what happens. And now there's my house. And it lets you make your house bigger. You can do around and all this good kind of stuff. And this student raised his hand and he says, I don't like this. And I thought, really? And he said his motorhome is in the driveway. And he says, somebody takes a look at that and they know I have a motorhome. They come driving by my house. The motorhome's not there. They know I'm gone. And they can go in. And when I come back, there's nothing left in my house. Well, I checked for him next week. I showed him how to request blurring. And once you choose blurring, nobody can see your house anymore. And they couldn't see his motorhome. He is the only person in 22 years that said this, which I found interesting. But it was very important to him. And he was such a happy camper that nobody could see his house anymore. And he didn't care that it was permanent. So Google, see all, know all, but they will let you do that if it's important to you. They have arts and culture. Again, it's miserable weather. It's icy. It's snowing. It's just rotten. You're not going to go out any place. You might want to go to the arts and culture site. It will let you virtually walk through and enjoy the collections, over 2,000 museums, art galleries, and everything but the kitchen sink around the world. It works just like Google Street View. It is the most fun thing. And your tour is narrated by somebody who works in the museum or whatever. And it came out as a result of Google's 20% time. Employees were encouraged to spend 20% of their time working on an innovative project. They put them up for people to use, and if the people really liked it, it became an app. If nobody clicked on it and kind of went thumbs down, then thank you very much for doing that, but we're not going to turn it into an app. But again, a fun thing to do. There is the group where I gave a presentation in Westchester, New York. They have special interest groups, and they probably have 12. One of them is this, and the guy who runs it, they all once a month get to sit around using Zoom and walk a museum, walk something like that. And he has looked it up in advance. He has seen how to navigate and all that good kind of stuff. And they just really enjoy being all together and making comments about someplace around the world that they'll never have the opportunity to go. And new stuff is being added all of the time. And like I say, it's just like Street View. You're walking along. I found out new, you can color a Van Gogh painting. This is just one of the many art pieces that you can color yourself. If you are into coloring books, you can do it here. There's your color choices down at the bottom. They have games that you can play about art, singing, lip sync. Again, the weather's miserable. You don't have anything to do. This is really a wonderful place to go. And I'll one hand, you're also learning something new, something about, what's out there in the world. Do you use Google Photos? Developed in 2015. You can purchase more space. We talked about that. It automatically analyzes your photos. I have photos of Judy, and I will upload a Judy photo, and they'll go, oh, there's a Judy photo. Okay, now she's got another one. And if I want to take a look at all of the Judy photos, it searches very quickly and pulls up all by itself. I don't have to do anything, all the pictures with me in it. And that includes me with a group of people, me sitting in an audience someplace, as well as the photos that somebody has just taken of me. And you can search for people, places, and things. And if you'd like to learn how to use it, you might want to schedule a Speakers Bureau presentation from the Geeks on Tour. Chris Gould is an expert. She's one of Google's Photos MVP, has been for years. And she put a very simple book together. And I suggest if you want to buy it, you buy the one from her website because it's spiral bound, so it's flat. And you think, oh yeah, Judy, you buy a book and then it gets obsolete. Well, she updates it and sends you updates for your book every time that she changes something. And she and her husband had a motorhome for years, a huge one, and they toured the RV places around the campgrounds around the United States and gave presentations. That's how they made their money. And they would go out to one in San Francisco, and when they were there, they'd give a presentation and teach a class at the Golden Gate Computer Society. And then they got involved with APCUG, and I was so sad because she was never in California when I was having my conference down in San Diego. But they are selling their house, and they have bought a residence on a ship, and they are going to sail the world and also give presentations at the same time. So if you're interested about Google Photos or anything like that, Marie can book a Geeks on Tour presentation. Android Auto, we had one gal in Florida say, just got a new car, haven't got a clue how all this electronic stuff works. Do you have anybody who does a presentation? Ray Baxter, APCUG's president, says, I'll tackle that. And so he has one on Android Auto, and he combines it with his music. He is a doo-wop club member, and he's into music like you wouldn't believe. The presentation he gives is so much fun because we've all lived through the music he is talking about, and then he touches on the Android Auto. Google Play, do not ever download an app for your smartphone or your PC unless it comes from Google Play or the Apple Store, period. Somebody in your group says, oh, I got this really cool app and I downloaded it at the ABC XYZ site, and you smile and you say, thank you very much for the information. And then you double check, and if you can't get it, if it's for Android at Google Play or the Apple Store, you don't want to use it. There is no telling what comes along with it. At both stores, there's free apps and paid apps. But I always say, whenever you download anything, no matter what it is, you need to stop and smell the roses and think, does my flashlight app really need access to my contact list? The answer is no. Really? So you're going to uncheck that box. Many people just download and boom, they're using it. They don't take time to go through and uncheck what they don't want that app to do or have access to. Stop and smell the roses. 1.57 million apps, take you a while to go through that. And January 2025, they had got 27,000 new apps and they got rid of 10,000. They do have a section, that a safety section now, because people crabbed and complained that there were bad apps up there, and it started out with just for kids, and it's for everybody now. And they do go through and check everything out to make sure they're okay. And if you, at the end of the presentation, this is, I understand, is going to go up on your website, and there are links to everything I'm talking about at the back end. There's Google TV. If you are a Google person, then you might want to use Google TV, your choice. YouTube Premium. I love it. 3 former PayPal employees, Chad, Steve, and Judd. They are in, I did their births today, late 20s. They created YouTube in 2005. Google bought the site the year later for $1.65 billion. These kids are so smart. It's absolutely incredible. They come up and reinvent the wheel, and some major company buys it. Basic plan is $82.99. This TV channel has 138 channels. Many people who are cutting the cord go to YouTube and get the premium TV channel. And you can also watch our APCUG videos of our Wednesday workshops on APCUG's YouTube channel. There's music. It's $17 a month, no commercials, or it comes included with your TV subscription. When I, hit the pillow every night, and as I'm reading my book, I am playing warm and cozy New York coffee shop jazz. And I have a ad. I don't pay $17 a month. And it's interesting because I never hear any ads, and I'll wake up in the morning and it is still playing my wonderful jazz. Translate. We have a friend who was a member of the Los Angeles Computer Society, and she worked with, she calls them dolls, and she would make clothes, repair dolls, this kind of thing. And she used Google Translate because somebody from Europe would send her a doll to be fixed, and there would be an email in their language. She speaks and reads English. So she was always using Google Translate to communicate back and forth with the person. You're out and about on a tour somewhere, and you see a sign in the language of where you are, and you wonder what it is. It'll translate text in an image on your phone's camera. So get familiar with Google Translate. It's fun. And this is, I just got snipped this graphic, and there's the we, the people of, and there it is in French instantly. That's what happens. English is on one side, whatever language that you want it in, you blink your eyes and it's been translated for you. Google Wallet, that's the presentation I gave to the New York group. Tuesday night, you pay with your phone and enter your credit cards, your debit cards, whatever, and you really literally just wave your phone over the card reader. You're picking up the information from the little Wi-Fi symbol. And you can add event tickets, airline tickets. In fact, my oldest kids told me last night when I was talking about this, they said, there is not one event they go to anymore that will accept paper tickets. They want you to show your phone, whether it be the email or just a picture of the ticket right there in front of their very eyes. Airline tickets, boarding passes, customs, car insurance cards, your vaccination cards. This is for people who travel. It's all in your phone now. And you can then pay with things with your wallet. And as of the end of 2024, 14 states will let you use this app, and your driver's license is on your phone or in your wallet, one or the other. And you get pulled over to the side. The cop pulls up and says, driver's license and insurance card. And you hold out your phone, and he uses his phone and he clicks on the QR code that is attached to your driver's license. And there the information is. And I love it because last night at dinner, my oldest son-in-law showed me exactly how this works. And then Bill James from Oklahoma's Tech Club, he says, don't forget to tell them that they can put their insurance information in there too. You know, we all have a copy of it in our glove box, so to speak. And he uses State Farm, and he says every time State Farms updates their information, he has the latest information in his phone. He doesn't have to do anything with it or about it. It's just all there. Not all states except the driver's license digital app, but you should have seen from July of 2024 to the end of the year, that's when the majority of those 14 states signed on to this. So this is brand new. Paying with your wallet, the FBI says using a digital wallet is the most safest way to pay, period. Nobody sees your numbers. You get a token that comes through, you don't see it, and the token number immediately goes away. You just need to open your phone with your fingerprints, your face recognition, your passcode, you know, whatever, and you're off and running. I would assume everybody uses Google search. Again, I've added 20% of searches are by voice. I know there's a microphone at the end of the line. I've never used it, but I'm going to try it to see how it works. But there's the statistics of some of the things that are out there. Now, DuckDuckGo. Every time I mention on an APCUG Wednesday workshop, Googling something, John Kennedy, who is our moderator, says, DuckDuckGo, Judy. DuckDuckGo doesn't care who you are, where you are, or what you're doing. You'll notice Google, who knows everything about us, 92% of the people use that. DuckDuckGo, but both Bing, Yahoo Search, and DuckDuckGo have gone up since the last time I gave this presentation last year. Gemini is artificial intelligence. Fun thing to use. Very interesting, very easy to do. Give it a try, play around with it, have somebody demo ChatGPT, Gemini, or Copilot. Google Doodles, which used to be out all the time, and it makes your, first page that you see cute, and they kind of gone away. They used to have contests for kids and give prizes away to schools and things. And if you'd like some of the old Google Doodle games from way back in the day, that link will take you to these games that you can play. Do you use Google Images? Way cool. The only thing I request is you make sure the graphic that you use, if you are going to send it out and it goes onto anybody's website, make sure you have made positive that it's not licensable or it's not copyrighted. Okay. We have had many of our group's websites get try to be sued by a law firm who says they're working for AP photographers and things, and they have found copyrighted pictures on groups' websites in a newsletter, in a PowerPoint presentation, or whatever. So if you're sending it to the outside world, make sure that you have checked it out. And Images came about in 2001. Jennifer Lopez apparently wore this absolutely outstanding Versace dress. Of course, the V went all the way down below her waist, and there were so many requests for it that Google said, let's put images together. And it was born in 2001. Google Home, this is your home automation, helps you set everything up. I don't know if you have heard my little friend over here, but every once in a while I have triggered it when I have asked a question, and it sat over there on the bookcase and answered it for me. But it's very quiet, so that's not too shabby. But Google Home, it lets people, you know, age in place, your lights will turn on, your music will turn on, and all you have to do is get it set up and use your words. And that's our friend Google Assistant, who is sitting over there. And that's how I get to listen to my jazz station out of New York. When I go to bed every night, I am telling my Google device, hey, play this music for me. Thank you so very. And I always say thank you. And then they say, oh, it's my pleasure. Or they say, oh, that's what I'm here for. And you go, yeah, sure. Google Nest is the hardware. The speakers, they look like tablets where you can see, you know, ask the weather and all that good kind of stuff. And Google has hardware. And those are the kinds of hardware that you can get. Again, they want to be your be all end all. They came out with the Pixel phone. Pixel phone is absolutely fantastic. I went to an iPhone because that's what everybody in my family has. I personally like the Pixel much better. But they have hardware. And here's your laptops they have, your Android phone, Chromecast for your TV. And they do have Cemetery, where they have come up with things, and oh gosh, they were here, and then they were gone. And they do call it their cemetery. And this is a question. Everybody says, oh, Google knows everything about you. Oh, blah, 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 blah. Google says we might, but we would love not to really know all that about you. And you can go to myaccount.google.com and go through those steps, and you can delete everything they know about you. The problem is when you first do that, if you might not be somebody who searches all the time and things like this. So you're not going to have that much, but you'll need to go in and delete it manually. And then you'll set it up and say, delete everything within a week, 2 weeks, a month, whatever. And Google in the background will delete everything it knows about where you've been, what you have been doing within that time frame. And it happens automatically. And they say, we'd love to be able to have you do that. We really, we really would. Facebook, if you were on Facebook, they want you to go in and do a security check. You should do that every month at a minimum, just to make sure that all your security settings are set. And again, you click through to how to see what data Google has on us and how to get rid of it. It can be boring because, like I said, if you are a heavy user, you're going to have a lot to manually delete. But after that, automatic. So these are the things it knows about us. If you are asked to open an account and use your Google password or your Facebook login and password, never do that, please, because you have just opened the communications between one app and another app. Create a username and password for each individual app that you use so they don't share information. During COVID, my youngest daughter's mother-in-law said, I have stir fever, can't we take a field trip? And her son asked me if I would always be the one that drove, and I said, sure. And then she said, why do you have so many more miles on your car than I do? And I thought, because I'm the designated driver. So I had to go get the pan underneath my engine, put back on again. So I stopped there. Then I stopped at Farmer Brothers, and I stopped at, here's the lower left one is when I got my car fixed to go. I stopped at the drugstore, so to speak, and then we ate at Farmer Brothers up in our car up in the Antelope Valley. And it said to me, you drove 159 miles this month in April, and you were on the road for 10 hours. This was during COVID. So that was absolutely nothing. But but again, it was tracking, and you turn that off and it works just fine. This says your April visits. I went to 3 cities and 34 stops. This was during COVID. I wasn't out and about that much. But again, that's what it knows about me. And I can say, you know, I don't want you to do that anymore. You can do it, but then we're going to delete it. They want you to be secure. Never go to a site that doesn't have an S on HTTPS. And they have been adamant about this since 2014. And if a website, one of the tech clubs that belong to APCUG, doesn't have the S, over time, they drop down in the search world. And if you have an S, because Google wants everybody to have an S, you're up towards the beginning of when somebody searches, there you will be. And never charge anything or do anything money-wise if there is not an S. And they say, would you please use 2FA? In 2021, World Backup Day, they said, we're going to turn everybody that uses Google accounts, mainly email, Gmail, we are going to insist that you start using 2-factor authentication. And you're going to get enrolled automatically by default. And then we'd get a prompt and on and on and on. But we could opt out. You know, that didn't happen. It was interesting. Okay, fine. But on 2021, on that particular day, we were all supposed to get an email from them saying this has happened. Now they recommend you use a passcode instead of a password. And if you do that, you're very secure and you don't need a 2-step authentication. When I go to my credit union, it says, would you like us to send you an email with your code, or can we call you on the phone? And I choose phone, and I get that, 6 or 7 digit number, and I key it in, and that's my 2-factor authentication. I can register to my device, and I will not get that anymore. I say, no, I don't need somebody sitting at my laptop trying to get into my bank account and, so on. So that's one easy way to do 2FA. And there's that. And I have been to 3 Google locations. I've been to corporate office, can't take pictures up there. But here is Venice. You walk into the building and there are all the Google Doodles. Up the side, across the top and down. Play and collaboration time. They want their employees to feel they don't have their nose to the grindstone, so to speak, 8 hours a day or whatever. So you can take a break and you can play, and you can see on the right, the Google Venice is just a few blocks from the Pacific Ocean. So they're very casual. They're not that casual up at Mountain View, but I didn't see anybody with a suit up there. But you can bring your dog food, water, hang the leash up here. There's the gumball machine for treats. And oh, by the way, would you like to go surfing? Bring your board, bring your bike, and take a break and go down to the beach when the surf is up. There's not really good surfing at Venice, but it's the thought that counts. They have free food everywhere you go. If you have several floors in your building, you will have 1 or 2 break areas where you can sit and you can see the refrigerators over there. When you eat at Google, you are using real plates, real silverware, real glassware, the whole 9 yards. And they have the Hispanic station, the Asian station, this station, that station. And you can choose whatever it is you want for lunch, and it is free of charge. Here's your place to have a chat and brainstorm. And that is the light bulb light on the 2nd floor, and the chairs are on the 1st floor. And those people down there are repairing the computers. I didn't know I wasn't supposed to take a picture of that. And you come in, you go here, they hand you a laptop. All your information when you work for them is in the cloud. There is nothing on your computer, so you get a different computer every day. If something happens to it, you go back. On the right, there is a whole wall that is a whiteboard where you can go and collaborate, and you can see people have been doing that. And then there's sheets of white paper to do that too. And they're talking about new apps, and they're just hanging out in the hall and doing this. Very casual atmosphere. YouTube came about, again, Playa Vista is just at the end of the LAX runway, just north of it. And they have the bright colors. They have a board up there with everything that they are working on. And again, everybody's casually dressed. And it's a small location. And they have just a small break area, but they have a very nice restaurant that they can go in and have a nice sit-down lunch. There's a station where they create videos, etc. And it was a fun time. I got to go to both of those places as a chaperone for technology kids from the Los Angeles School District. The Los Angeles Computer Society's president was a teacher for one of those classes, and he arranged the tours, and they knew I couldn't not go. So I drove an hour from Santa Clarita down to LAX to go on both those tours. What fun. Do we have any questions?
We have a few minutes for questions, Judy, and Mary Sue is here with a microphone, and I have a microphone. So if you want to raise your hands, one question per person to start out, please.
We'll start back here. How do we sign up for the Wednesday meetings or classes you have?
Yes, somebody just asked me a question. I could not understand it. It sounded like they were in a well. So one of you is going to have to repeat it.
Okay. The question was, how do people sign up for your Wednesday programs?
I send all of your officers, good question. I send all of your officers information about it. They get the email on Sunday, because literally sometimes I don't have a presenter until Saturday, and you have until Tuesday to sign up, register. And I ask that that message be forwarded to all of the members. When you register and you receive the link to click on to attend, there is a note there that says, if you would like to get your own individual email from me, click here and subscribe. And you just put in your name of your group and your email address and your name. So
I'm going to double check with you, Judy, to make sure that I'm on that list. I think I am, but I don't recall getting any emails. So we'll work on that, and I can share it with our club members.
The email comes from MailChimp.
From MailChimp. No, I'm not getting anything from MailChimp.
Okay, I will make sure to see that you're on there.
Okay, thank you, Judy. Do we have any other questions, please?
Do you do a similar presentation for Microsoft Edge?
Judy, do you do any similar presentations for Microsoft Edge? Or does anybody from APCUG have that?
I do believe Bill James gives one on Edge. He's a Microsoft kid through and through. So most of his presentations are about that. But I will send you an email and let you know if he does give one. If not, I can ask him to put one together.
That's fine. And if you will email me that question so that I can double check with you, okay? All right, and who's next for a question? Okay,
If I switch to Google Docs, what happens to all my Word documents? Will I lose them?
if she switches to Google Docs, what happens to all of her Word documents? Will she lose them?
No, they're on, you've got them stored on your hard drive, I would imagine. And you can open them up with, you go to Google Docs and you say, oh, I want to work on the XYZ document. And you go to that folder on your hard drive and you open it up in Google Docs and you do your thing with it. And then you save it and it will save them on your, what it does is you don't save it. This is the most difficult thing to get used to, is it automatically saves. And you think, oh, I have to do Control S every once in a while because, you know, I want to not lose my work. And no, it saves in the cloud automatically and you don't have to do that. If you create a new document, the first thing you do is give it a title. And after that, it saves automatically in your Docs folder up in the cloud in your account. And if you want to, you can save it where you save all the rest of them. But your Excel spreadsheets, you can just open them in Sheets and nothing changes. Then you just work away.
Yes, and I know that tab. I'm using it myself, so I
Okay.
know that it is pretty interchangeable.
Okay, so that would be a good thing for you to do sometime at the beginning of a presentation, or have some of your techie people pick apart this presentation and say, you know, and ask your people, there you go, there's a form. Which one of these things would you like demoed? And that gal wants you to demo, or somebody Docs. And you could give a quick hands-on demo on how to do it. Look how easy it is.
That's a great idea. Great idea. We'll take one more question.
Looks like not. Here she is.
Hold on a minute.
While we're waiting for her to get a microphone on, if any of you can make a presentation, it doesn't have to be a long one, but on any particular subject, you know how to do something, talk to us, because we keep looking for people to do we want to do some seminars. We also need to do more classes, but we need more teachers to do that. We just don't know everything. And think about
Do you want
it.
to ask a question? I think we have one more question.
Where can I find a book or a source? I mean, this is all wonderful, but I wasn't familiar with it before. So where do I have a source that can help me keep up with this?
Okay, the question is, where can she find a source to help her learn all of the things that you talked about today? And I think I know the answer, and that is to Google it.
Yes. Everything that I talked about, if you Google, and the question, oh, and I have to say, I don't know if I said this, but I would tell my students, keywords, search for keywords. I never search for keywords. I just search the sentence. I asked Marie a question. I would type that into Google and search that way. I figure Google is smart enough to pick out the keywords that it wants by itself and answer my question, and it works just fine. So, you know, how do I use whatever? Arts and culture. You're going to get the Google steps that tell you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, blah, blah. You go here, you do this, you go here, and then you do that, and so on for every single one of those. Or anything. I just
Thank
ask,
you so
how do
much,
I
Judy.
do fill in the blank?
We've kept you way too long, and
No,
we
I
really
kept you wait. No.
we really appreciate all the knowledge you've shared with us, and we're looking forward to your next visit with us from California. So let's give Judy some appreciation.
And we can only hope the weather is better for both of us,
Thank you so much. again.
especially you guys.
All right, I'll be in touch.
Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you to all of you. And I just have some closing remarks if you want to hang in there for a second. And I want you to know that our next program will be on March 19 at 2 o'clock. And Judy will be with us again. And this time she's going to talk about everything about the cloud. So we will be up in the clouds on our next program, March 19. Watch the bulletin board about a month before or 3 weeks before, you'll see the notices. And I would like our club leaders, instructors, resident helpers, and anybody behind the scenes, if you wouldn't mind standing up, and so we can recognize you as computer club helpers. And if you're not standing and you'd like to be on our next program, we invite you to join us. Just let me know or one of us know. So that we can include you on some of the activities of the computer club. I want to give some special thanks to someone who is not sitting in here, but he's sitting in the control room, and that's Keith Talbert. He has mastered the audio-visual system in this theater and has special settings just for our programs. So Keith, thank you so much. He's been working hard on this. I really appreciate it.
I'm raising my hand.
We have an Ericsson IT Tech Bar coming up on February 19th. And that's going to be from 1:30 to 3:30 in the Hunters Crossing Conference Center. That's one of those tech bars where Ericsson brings its IT people out. If you have a problem with your phone or your tablet or your laptop, whatever it may be, whether it's an iPhone or an Android model, just come to the tech bar, and those of us on the board and some others of our helpers will be there, as well as the Ericsson IT people. So please come out for that. The iPhone iPad Help Group, which is a group of residents from the computer club, will meet on this Saturday, February 8th, and again on February 22. And they meet from 1:30 to 3 p.m. in Town Center Classroom 1, and that's the classroom opposite Cork and Fork restaurant in Town Center. Again, if you have a problem, you can't get an app to work, you need to know how to do something on one of your devices, bring it with you. Make sure you know your password when you bring that device with you. So we have some upcoming courses available, and that list is showing on the bulletin boards right now. You can plan ahead what's coming up for the rest of this year. Keep an eye on that list because we are adding some seminars. We're maybe adding some courses. We're looking for more residents who want to share their knowledge with other people. And so if you have that knowledge and you would like to share it, please let me know or one of the other officers. Also, if you think there is a course that you'd like to have us teach, we need to know what that is. Because we have some that we've been teaching for several years, but maybe there's something new that you want taught. And if we can find an instructor, we will be able to offer that course. We have a few openings on the computer club board. If you're interested in serving on the board, we have one monthly meeting, and that's pretty much the activity of the board, although we are involved in some other things that you might spend some of your time in during that month. So if you're interested in serving on the computer club board, maybe you're a new resident, you want to get involved, just send me an email or one of the other people involved. And most of all, I want to thank you for coming out to our program today. I hope you got something out of it. That was a huge suitcase to unpack, Judy. And there was so much information in there. And you can tell that if you started and all you're doing is just searching using Google, you're really missing out. There were so many things that I said, if I just had an extra hour, I would like to do that. So, but thank you for your time today. We really appreciate it.
Mhm.
See you next time.
Bye-bye.